Last year, Maramont won its second straight OHSLA Division II lacrosse championship by defeating Chagrin Falls by a margin of 1 goal. Today, those same two teams will face off once again with the Division II title on the line. Can Maramont make it 3 straight? Can Chagrin Falls exact their revenge for last year's loss? We'll find out next on Time Warner Cable Sports Channel. Championship game. Greg Franke, along with long-time outstanding collegiate and professional lacrosse player Greg Weiss. Pleasure to be with you here today. And not only was last year's game decided by only 1 goal, it was a whirlwind comeback by Chagrin Falls that would have been miraculous. Fell just short.
Fell just short. Maramont had a 9-2 lead. Chagrin Falls came back, made it a 10-9 game. These two teams know each other very well, and trust me, they're excited to play here today.
They appear to be peaking as well. Both teams were dominant in their semifinal game. Chagrin Falls with a victory over Hawken, and Maramont equally impressive in their win over St. Francis.
It doesn't matter how you win, as long as you do, but when you win big and you win early, helps build confidence as you come into this state championship game.
Maramont is an interesting squad. They're the 2-time defending champions in the state of Ohio, but they don't have a lot of players who are earmarked to play in the collegiate level, maybe a lot of players that are capable, but basically they're just a team with an excellent chemistry.
This is a program hands off to their coaching. They're fantastically coached, and like you said, they don't have guys going on to the next level, but every year they find their way to the state championship game.
They've got a great attackman named Connor Bortz. We'll be talking about him all day. But maybe the key to this game is their defender, Parker Sullivan.
Parker Sullivan, the defensive player of the year for Division II. He's got his hands full covering Sean Mackin, one of the best players in the state. But this kid is a fantastic athlete and will rise to the occasion today.
Maramont lost a lot of players from their team last year. They're a very young squad, but as they have shown throughout this season and through these playoffs, they've reloaded.
Yes, they don't rebuild, they reload. They lost 14 seniors last year, and give them all the credit in the world for being able to come back, build this roster, and make their way here.
No question about it, and a lot of those young players are going to be called upon to do a big job, and that's the kind of job that they have done all season long. Chagrin Falls, on the other hand, they have a lot of players back from last year's disappointment. They don't feel they played their best game, and they've been waiting a whole year for this chance at redemption.
Talking with their coach, he thought they might have got a little nervous last year in this game, but not so this year. They've got the experience. They've been hungry all season. Goal has been state championship or bust.
You mentioned Sean Mackin. Parker Sullivan's going to have his hands full. He's a player that was so good he was actually recruited to play lacrosse at Syracuse. Instead, he decided to play linebacker at Harvard. Either way, he's a handful.
He will be the best athlete on the field. He's a big kid. He's strong. He's quick. He's the quarterback for Chagrin, and he will need to have a big day if he hopes to be victorious.
On paper, it would look like Chagrin Falls might have an edge experience-wise because they have practically an entire squad that is back chomping at the bit to have an opportunity to reverse last year's result.
They definitely have players who have played in this game last year. They're a little bit more veteran. We'll see if they can handle the nerves early and if that becomes a factor.
We'll indeed see, and it should be a very, very interesting confrontation here. A rematch of last year's state championship, Maramont and Chagrin Falls Division II, coming up on Time Warner Cable Sports Channel. And we are out at New Albany High School for this Division II state championship matchup. Maramont in the gold uniforms, Chagrin Falls in the white. Last year, Maramont got off to a great start. They put this Chagrin Falls team on their heels, and Chagrin Falls really wants to change that at the start of this game.
We talked about the pressure that Chagrin felt last year being in this game for the first time. They're back, they're more experienced. Do not expect them to be nervous. Do not expect Maramont to jump out the way they were able to last season.
Yeah, last year was Chagrin Falls' first time in the championship game, and admittedly they were nervous and they were a little tight at the start. And the ironic thing is they won the vast majority of the face-offs, but then they would give the ball away with turnovers, and that maybe is indicative of a team that was tight.
Definitely, you're maintaining possessions, you're winning the face-offs. You need to keep control of the ball. If you're turning it over, like you said, that's a clear sign of nerves being a factor.
Now here is Connor Bortz. Number 9, he is just a dominant player. He was head and shoulders above everyone on the field in that St. Francis game. He scored 4 early goals, then they started to double him, and he just started finding everybody in a gold jersey, and they scored the goals.
Very complete player. Like you said, he's able to create his own opportunities, and when he draws the slide and gets the defense moving, he's able to find his teammates as well. He's extremely quick and shifty.
And his teammates were extremely adept at putting balls away when he fed them in that situation. That's what they are, a very consistent, very talented team, a very skilled team.
And you talk to Coach Peterson, the way he coaches this team, I absolutely love it as a player. Everybody's got the green light. Everyone is good to go, call their own numbers. They play a true team game. You tack, if you don't have anything, you move the ball and it's the next man up.
Back of the goal is Bortz. He is extremely quick. He's hard to stay with. And he got that shot over his shoulder, but the save was made by the Chagrin Falls goalkeeper, Jackson Markley.
And that was fantastic defense by number 27, Patrick Donnelly, the senior for Chagrin. Does a nice job when Bortz gets to that goal line area of using his body, using his leverage, and turning him back.
St. Francis run player after player at him, trying to contain him without success, and now Laundry on the field. And we're going to have a man-up opportunity early for Maramont. And what would you say the keys to this contest are?
For Maramont, start fast. They want to jump out to an early lead again, see if they can put pressure on Chagrin Falls, and then push transition. We talked about every man being able to run and being able to call their own number. They can get some opportunities in transition, get some easy goals. That'll help them build confidence.
Chagrin Falls really wanted to have a fast start. Both teams did that in the last game, and if they're going to try to follow the recipe of their semifinal victories, that's what both teams would like to do. Maramont with a chance here with an early man-up situation.
And for Chagrin, their keys to the game, they want to control the X. They were so dominant last championship game against Maramont. Nice save right there by the keeper. But they want to continue to control the X and get opportunities. They have one of the best face-off men in the state. They want to continue to maintain possession and then read the defense. Expect Maramont to throw some zones, throw some man. They need to be able to read and understand their situations.
That was a great save by Jackson Markley, who's a hockey goalie for Chagrin Falls. Maramont, that's what they do. They change defenses very effectively. Bounce shot over the top. And again, Bortz proving very, very difficult to contain. Patrick Donnelly trying to do the job on him very much that Parker Sullivan is trying to do on Sean Mackin.
Yeah, Chagrin did a nice job. They got the man down stop. They need to take care of the ball clearing. They need to be crisp on their passes and get possession to their attack, especially number 22, Sean Mackin.
So now Chagrin Falls on the attack really for the first time in this contest. Here is Garrett Bontempo. He's a junior number 1 and is right up there with the top upperclassmen on this team. And they have a lot of very impressive players we'll be telling you about throughout the course of this afternoon. Sean Mackin there is a great football linebacker, and he's tough to handle.
You can see Maramont right now is already in a 3-3 zone. So they're giving Chagrin a different look. They're not in their standard man. We'll see what Chagrin can do as far as drawing up a play, what they decide to go to in an offensive formation, try and generate some quality looks, but they got to get the zone moving. They got to get the gaps, get the next man to play them, and then move the ball.
Their zone defense was very, very important to their victory over St. Francis as they just shut down a very potent offensive team led by the man that Noah Best, many feel might even be the best individual player in the state.
Noah Best is a fantastic lacrosse player. Got to watch him in person last week as Toledo DeSales played St. Francis DeSales, and that kid is all he's hyped up to be. Fantastic with the ball in his stick, creating his own shot and setting up teammates.
He'll be heading to Ohio State, but they really did a job on him in the last game. And Connor Osgood stopped him when he was able to launch a couple of rockets toward the goal. This zone defense, again, they don't overcommit. They are very disciplined on defense. That's one of the reasons Maramont has been so successful.
The key to a good zone defense is holding your spot. So you want to pass players along. You don't want to rotate. You don't want to create offense. And you saw a ward called in Chagrin. It looked like from up here that the Maramont defender just fell down, so an unlucky break there.
That was
for the Tigers.
TJ Subel that was called for that. He's a Vermont commit, I should say. He won 98% of the faceoffs, was the MVP of last year's game. But it still wasn't enough to propel Chagrin Falls to a victory, as they really did not take advantage of the opportunity that winning all those faceoffs could have given them.
Yeah, on that last possession there for the Tigers. They moved the ball around. They didn't generate a shot. They needed to attack those gaps like we talked about in the zone, get them rotating, and then try and get a high-quality look.
Bortz got right to the front of the goal, but it was just sticked away from him before he could launch a shot. And it ended up in the possession of Alex Baker, and they're really riding him hard, and he ended up using his keeper to relieve the pressure. But the ball is given right back, charging in to take possession. Cooper Hayes, and right back to the attack goes Maramont.
Yeah, you cannot give the Maramont offense extra possessions. When you get a stop, you have to get the ball to your offense, and we got a fast break opportunity here for the Tigers.
And let's see if they can take advantage of it. They've got the numbers, 4-on-3, shot goal! Sean Mackin got a hat trick in the semifinal. He struck again early here.
That's a great read by Mackin. He has just enough time, just enough space. Great bounce shot. Finds off hip. If you look at this location on where this ball went, there's not a goalie in the state that's going to save that. The velocity that he brings. We talked about his athleticism and his strength. If you're Chagrin, you take that shot 10 out of 10 times. Fantastic play by the Tigers.
One linebacker beating another. Connor Osgood, the outstanding goalkeeper for Maramont, is also a great linebacker. Who knows, those guys might have a physical battle at some point before this game is over. But that was a great conversion of a fast break. Now they come back again. And once more, it is Mackin, but this time they're able to prevent him from releasing the shot. Roll dodge, trying to get loose. Subel, two defenders on him, and they force him back out.
Yeah, that was a nice job by both Mackin and Subel. They ran into some pressure, and rather than panicking, they just ran away, and they maintained possession rather than forcing a bad shot or a turnover. So that's great IQ from both of those players.
And they are both veteran players of whom you would really expect that. Maramont had that man up. They've had a lot of the possession time, but a quick counterattack has made the difference so far. And now Chagrin Falls looking to try to add to their lead on this offensive possession. Aiden Stevens, a fine freshman. Over for Mackin.
Maramont's going to be content in this zone until Chagrin is able to crack it and generate some high-quality looks.
There's a pass, they find Mackin in front, but the defender, Drew Serraino, will be heading to play at Arizona State, and a fine club program was there to block the shot.
Yeah, and Mackin found a nice little soft spot in the zone. He turned and fired that sidearm. I think if he brings that right over the top, he's able to get that on cage.
Griffin Stevens does a great job shaking off Parker Sullivan. He's a great defender, but he prevented him from getting right in on the goal. He gets the ball back, and that one clanged off the post and all the way back out to midfield. You can hear that one way up here.
Maramont dodges a bullet right there. That was a fantastic shot from Stevens. Low and away, hits right off the pipe, ricochets out, and they're fortunate that they backed it up. Maramont thought that Bortz was closer, so it's whoever's closest where the ball goes out, regardless if he's on the offensive end of the field, and Maramont thought that they should have got possession, but they did not.
Here is Bontempo. He's got a great lacrosse IQ, tremendous vision. Plays it below the goal, and there's a rare errant pass. Mackin hustling to try to save the possession, but he does not get there in time. And that's kind of what they did last year too often to prevent Chagrin Falls from winning the championship game.
Yeah, that was just an unforced turnover. There wasn't a lot of pressure from the Warriors. They were just moving the ball around, and an errant pass, the ball goes out of bounds, and now Maramont gets possession. We'll see if they can generate a quality shot. They're gonna have another man-up opportunity here. We got flags down.
And now the whistle goes, and Maramont will once again get the opportunity to play with a man advantage. It is a technical called on Griffin Stevens of Chagrin Falls. And Maramont will once again have an opportunity.
Yeah, they're going to be man up for 30 seconds here. They weren't able to generate a high-quality look in their last man up possession. And here's where it's so important on the defensive end. You're down a man, you need to communicate, you want to have your sticks up in the passing lane, you don't want to overcommit, and when one man moves, everyone has to move. You have to slide and recover and help each other out.
And you only have 30 seconds. It's imperative to work the ball and set up a good shot. You can't afford to lose possession. You probably won't get it back in that time. That ball is rifled wide of the cage by Anthony DiMichele. And he is one of the top scoring threats on this Maramont squad. Plays a lot with Bortz in that first unit. That one winged wide of the goal by Aaron Urevick. And there it is. The possession turns over to Chagrin Falls. And that will help them to evade another man-up situation for Maramont.
How about the hustle there from Kundera, out hustling the Maramont attacking to the end line and getting possession for his team. That's just a hustle and heart play.
Yeah. Well, they've been waiting a long time for this game. You can see they're putting it all out there, and they did the same thing in their victory against Hawken. They were very focused and full marks for the victory. And trying to get through the defense there is Billy Lingenfelter, but he is taken down. They fight hard for the ground ball. There's another example of that heart and scrappiness that you talked about. Both teams showing it though, and it's picked up there by Cooper Hayes. And then he gets dumped at midfield, and flags fly again.
You have to love the energy. You have to love the effort. Guys flying around, leaving it all on the field, fighting, trying to get that extra possession for their teams. This is just fun lacrosse right here.
And they are really going all out. You can see that a lot is at stake here today. They're expending a tremendous amount of energy. Mentioned that last game that Chagrin Falls played so well against Gates Mills Hawken. They had a moment of silence before the game. Two senior teammates for Hawken, Josh Weil and Alex Duty, were tragically killed in a car accident. And the Hawken team wore the players' numbers on their jerseys on the bench. They had the jerseys on the bench. And there's a shot and a goal. And Maramont ties it up. And finally, they're able to take advantage of an opportunity.
Man up possession there. Just a step down from the outside. It was great shot placement over Markley's shoulder. He's been seeing the ball so well for Chagrin, the goaltender. Finally, they were able to crack in with a great location on the man-up opportunity.
So their third results in pay dirt, and we're tied up. And now right back the other way comes Chagrin Falls. That passes out for Rory McGough. Couldn't quite handle it. He got it back though under a lot of pressure, but he spins away. And again though, as you mentioned before, if they don't have anything, they just patiently put it right back out.
I think it's important that the Tigers try and get some early offense before the Maramont zone can get set. They've had trouble. They haven't got the zone moving yet. And so if they can try and get like a 4-on-4 opportunity, a 5-on-4, a slow break, anything where they can play fast before the Maramont zone is set, I think that favors them and their offense.
Here they've got a chance and really let fly by Garrett Bontempo, but I think he put it through the football uprights there. So it just seemed to sail on him.
Yeah, the ball just slid out of his stick and went a little high.
They maintained possession, however, as they were well positioned. And that's going to give them another chance, and that one had a lot on it as Billy Lingenfelter fired. He's the kind of guy that you don't necessarily notice him a lot. He and Alex Baker, two juniors, the same way, but they always seem to score a goal or two a game.
You need that. Great teams have guys that find ways to score.
Shot there. Alex Baker going for another one, but it was Osgood with a fine save, and he makes a great outlet pass. And Maramont to the attack, dodging away from a defender. And they get it to Bortz. They always want to find him, but he lost it. Chagrin Falls comes right back with another quick counter. But this time the numbers are back defensively. Mackin trying to do it on his own, fires, and that was blocked in front once again by Drew Serraino, who blocked an earlier hot drive from Sean Mackin.
I just, one of the defensemen just soaked it right there.
He's going to be soaking probably after the game. But no time to worry about that right now.
If you're a goalie, you love a defenseman that's willing to stand in there and take a few of those, because if you're a defenseman and a shot's coming right at you and you move out of the way at the last second, it's a screen on the goalie. So he doesn't get a read until the last second. It's a much harder save. So if that ball's coming at you and you're a defender, you better just take it.
Final half minute of this first quarter, and the ball will be turned over here, so they lose an opportunity to try to get some big momentum before the break. Now Maramont will have possession. And if they give it away, though, at midfield, but then the ground ball cannot be fielded by Lingefelter, but it does end up being controlled by Griffin Stevens, 24 for Chagrin Falls.
Only 10 seconds left here. And a timeout.
With 5.4 seconds remaining in this opening quarter. So Chagrin Falls not content to simply let the quarter run out. They want to make full use of the time they have remaining.
Let's see what Coach Napolitano can draw up.
Well, the Chagrin Falls team, we mentioned that they definitely have had their sights set on this title game, and indeed they have. They have played extremely well throughout the entire tournament, and it really peaked with that victory over Hawken when they just came out and showed all of their class and experience. And with the exception of maybe a couple of mistakes and a little over-exuberance in taking penalty calls, they've looked strong in this game, like they're ready to play.
They've looked strong in this game, and they've looked strong all season. On paper, they're fantastic. They've beaten everybody that they were supposed to beat, so they've been consistent, which is first and foremost the most important thing to make a state run. But you know, talking to the coaching staff, these guys had states in mind the entire year. Last year they fell just short. They only graduated 2 players that were starters. And we'll see if they can get an opportunity here.
Well, let's see what they can do with these final seconds. They almost created something as Alex Baker was open in front of the cage, but the pass was just in a place where he couldn't really handle it. And the first quarter ends 1-1. Neither team really gets the jump. It looks like we're going to have a real battle in this Division II state championship game. Bortz. He is extremely quick. He's hard to stay. This has been a real defensive battle.
Defensive battle. Both teams are playing their respective defenses to perfection. You have Maramont on one end playing zone, Chagrin playing man on the other side, but they are both playing very well defensively. And I expect this game to open up a little bit as we get into the third, the fourth quarter. You know, in a championship game, you want to rely on your defense early, let the nerves get out, let the offense find their rhythm, and both of these defenses have done their jobs thus far.
Sean Mackin, the goal scorer for Chagrin Falls, and answered by Aaron Urevick for Maramont in that first quarter. And now we're underway in the second in a ground ball battle. Every one of those has been a titanic struggle. Both teams really putting it all out. That ball thrown upfield and turned over. A great play, intercepting it by Subel. He still has it, fires a sidearm shot, and it was stopped by Osgood. But a good job there by Subel to win himself some space and get a good scoring opportunity.
Yeah, I like that shot from Subel. Maramont wasn't set. They forced the turnover, and rather than pull it out and let Maramont defense get set, he goes early. He generates a good look, and nice job by Mackin to back that ball up and maintain possession.
Now it's Bon Tempo. Again, we've seen a lot of patient, deliberate offense by Chagrin Falls. If they don't have the quick break that resulted in their one goal, then they'll work it out and try to pierce this zone somehow, but it's been tough to do. And they throw it in front. They come up with a ball, quick shot, and that one went wide as Alex Baker just materialized. Nobody could find it, and he had a golden opportunity there.
Came right down the heart of the defense. The ball ricochets right to his stick. He has an opportunity, wasn't able to put it on cage.
typically that can be the danger of the inverted attack as you pass from behind the goal. If it goes astray, the other team can break out quickly. It looked like that might happen, but instead Baker just found the ball and quick release, couldn't quite find the target, and there's a save by Osgood. He never looks like he's expending much energy, just stands in there and takes the ball. Very composed in goal.
A great save. And one of the hard things is, we saw it there early with the ricochet. If the ball breaks free, it's hard when you're playing a zone to find those offensive players. It's just like basketball. You want to rebound, you want to find the ball. It's hard sometimes to identify the players, but on the flip side, when your goalie does make a save, you got 3 players ready to break out, and it's hard to find them as well.
Urevick has scored again for Maramont.
How about the individual effort right there? Comes down the alley, a beautiful looking shot. Overhand, finds the low corner. You see right here, look at that effort. Gets his shoulder in, creates space, and look at that release. Straight over the top, low and away. Unbelievable.
Yeah, this is an interesting thing about the makeup of this Maramont team. Bortz is usually such an outstanding player, but they have other guys that can step up and score when they need to, and Bortz has not been as much of a factor as he's been in a lot of other games so far, although he always is because they got to worry about him. But now Urevick has stepped up and scored 2 big goals. And here they got another chance breaking in, and it was Phelan just being upended as he was at the doorstep of the goal. And a flag flies again.
I think we're gonna have a hold call on the Tigers. Yeah, Phelan did a nice job. He won that clean, came down, had an opportunity, he's pushing to the goal. And then, we had a push, we got a push here. But he had a great angle. So if you're the defense, you actually take that penalty, because if not, he's coming right down the alley, right down the heart of the defense. Nobody's around, everybody else is locking off, and it's a one-on-one. So it's actually not a bad penalty for Chagrin.
Saw the officials. Of course, there's a lot of pressure on them as well in a championship game. Maramont has scored, or has had all of the man-up opportunities so far, but they've been well-earned opportunities, such as that last one. Forced him to take the player down. Right out in front, big shot, and a save by Jackson Markley on Anthony DiMichele, who almost made it 3-1. Scooped up and some neat maneuvering there at midfield by Connor Orzen, up for Garrett Bontempo.
Yeah, Connor Orzen, fantastic ground ball, and then makes the smart play. Doesn't try and do too much, gets the ball to his attack, gets off the field, and gets the right personnel on.
Good sign here for Chagrin Falls. They change on the fly, but not panicking. They've fallen behind. They almost were down 3-1, but they're staying with their game plan. Of course, things can change, as they proved in last year's championship in Lacrosse in the blink of an eye. They were down 9-2 well into the 4th quarter. They lost 10-9, and they had the tying goal on their stick. Right out in front, and that shot was blocked. That time, I believe it was Ty Bucher who got in front of the ball.
Yeah, we've seen the Tigers offensively. They're trying to force things a little bit too much. I think they're getting frustrated with the zone. They just need to be patient.
Look at Urevick again, cavorting through everybody. Finds an opening. That's also 3 big blocks where the ball never got through to the keeper, but somebody in Maramont sweater was able to keep it from getting through.
Yeah, and that zone, it's so important. First of all, that as a defense, you're in the right position. And then 2, to have your sticks up so that when you are in the right position, you can knock down passes. And we've seen it a couple times where the Tigers have tried to thread the needle, but give Maramont tons of credit for being in the right spot. Their players have their sticks up, and that's a reflection of coaching.
Chuck Winovich under a lot of pressure there. And the timeout is called. And Chagrin Falls will talk things over with 7:55 remaining in the opening half here, the 2nd quarter. Let's take a look now at what Maramont has done in playoff competition. And they're a team that a lot of people felt would possibly have to rebuild a little bit after losing so many players, but instead they have come out, they've outscored their opponents by 20 goals, and in that last game they took a team, St. Francis, that they had to beat. They scrapped to beat them 6-4 with a much more experienced team. St. Francis was inexperienced. This year St. Francis much more experienced. They lost all those players and they won pretty much going away in that contest.
Yeah, how impressive is this Maramont program? every year. You talk 2 state championships. They've won the last 2 for Division II. They're back here again. They graduated 14 seniors. I mean, that's unheard of. Their ability to put it together, and their coaching staff, and Coach Peterson, talking to him, what an impressive guy. And he works with the youth program, which is so cool. So the grades 2 through 6, he's down there, he's helping out. And then he gets those guys back when they get to high school. So he's known these players, you know, for years and years and years, and it's such a special experience for these boys to know him when they're younger and then be able to play for him in the high school. And obviously it's paying off for what they've been able to do over the past couple years.
So now it is Chagrin Falls once again going to the attack, looking for an early equalizer, but that ball is stolen beautifully by Parker Sullivan,
Fast
the
break.
top defender in the state, and now they have a 4-on-3. Sullivan fires, but this time defender is stepping up, John Clindera, to block the shot. And that's Maramont doing what Chagrin Falls did early to get their only goal so far.
Yeah, that's a good play by the Tiger defense. They decide not to slide to the defender, to Sullivan as he comes over. And if you're Sullivan, you're wide open, you have to shoot that shot. So it's a good play by both of them. Sullivan would like that one back, wanted to put it on Cage, but great coaching there by the Tigers not to slide and make a long pole beat you as opposed to an attackman.
Wilson Bucher from back of the goal shot it, but well positioned was goalkeeper Jackson Markley. And back comes Chagrin Falls.
Yeah, the Tiger defense is doing such a nice job in their individual matchups of getting their stick on hands when the Warriors shooters are ready to pull the trigger, and they're making it very difficult for them to have a hands-free. Nothing hands-free, everything's under pressure.
They wouldn't even had to call Connor Osgood's name that much. He's made a couple of saves for Maramont, but he's filling very big shoes to replace the goalie who was the top goalie in the state last year in Sam Long. But his teammates have been doing a lot of the work for him, blocking shots. Their defense has been well nigh impregnable so far. Chagrin Falls, Alex Baker.
Talk about Osgood, he's a vocal leader. Guy's not scared to encourage teammates, challenge teammates.
Intercepted, they came up with, look at that spin by Mackin as all of a sudden he whirled around and was in front of the goal, but he wasn't able to get a shot. Second time that's happened where Chagrin Falls player just found the ball. There was apparently an errant pass and almost scored on it.
Not sure what the penalty was. It's like a minute. I think they got him for a slash. So look at the replay here. You see the great spin move by Mackin. They got a slash. That didn't look too bad to me, but
William Mayshak, I think it was inadvertent, but and he didn't really slash him, as you said. He just kind of went right into it, but enough to, and perhaps the fact that all of the men up so far have been in Maramont's favor, that call was bound to be made.
Yeah, and I always have to put a disclaimer out there when I say it's not a slash. I play defense, so I've never seen a slash. Everything that I've seen is always clean.
Shot went wide there. And back forward is Bontempo. Another thing about the goalkeeper for Maramont and Osgood, he was a long stick defender last year and a very good one. So he's not shy about taking the ball and launching an attack. You'll see him all the way over midfield. And the ball is turned over by Chagrin Falls again. And after a pretty good start to the game, we're starting to see a few more of those unforced turnovers.
Yeah, it's a tough break for the Tigers. They just need to maintain possession. They've thrown the ball away a couple times. Right there, you have an extra man, so somebody's open. Just take care of the ball. You're going to get a quality look.
Oh, you could see a collision waiting to happen there. There was a minor collision as Patrick Donnelly stepped up defensively, but Bortz comes up with the ball. They're doubling him. But he's undaunted by that. He often can find an open player, such as there. Urevick shooting for his hat trick, but it bounces well over and wide. That's a great example of what Connor Bortz can do. You get two guys putting pressure on him. He just waits till he gets someone cutting into the open spot and finds him.
Yeah, if you're seeing pressure, you got two pulls, just run. Run for your life, run away, keep possession, and Maramont's back on the power play. They're going to have a 30-second man-up opportunity, and they generated a quality shot on their last opportunity, but Markley had a fantastic save.
Offside was the call.
Well, actually, we're playing 5-on-5 lacrosse right now.
And then the ball goes over to Chagrin Falls. And a pass through midfield to Pierce Fricky.
Yeah, the Maramont penalty was just released, and now it's going to be, and it looks like the Chagrin, we're going to be 6-on-6 here. Both teams back to full strength.
Chagrin Falls, even though they've been through quite a bit of adversity here, they're right in this contest. The goal could tie it up. That ball is up high and contested both by Osgood and Mark McGinley. But it's ruled an errant pass, and the ball goes over to Maramont.
The zone looks like it's really frustrating the Tigers. They just need to be patient, not try and hit the home run pass right away. You got to get the zone moving. And the zone that we're seeing from Maramont it's an interesting zone. They're coming out, they're playing the ball, they're putting pressure. So it's not just a sit back, a 3-3, a deep zone where you're packing it in real tight. They're actually putting pressure on the ball, and that makes things a little bit more difficult.
Good anticipation there by goalkeeper Jackson Markley to intercept that centering pass. Now he's out near midfield. That's something we said that Osgood often does. But he gave it up at midfield right into the possession of Drew Serraino. And a timeout called by Maramont with 3:28 remaining in the first half. They have an important possession to work on, and they're going to talk things over.
That pass picked off by Markley there was just saved a goal for his team. I don't know who was open. There was one Maramont player standing right on the crease, just posted up, nobody within 10 yards of him.
Yeah, that's only one of many fine plays that he has made in this game. And after he intercepted that one, he said, I'm going to run it out myself to make sure there's no further opportunities. But here early on, he was very, very sharp.
Yeah, that was an easy save for him. We talked about the pressure that his defense is putting on the Maramont shooters. You see the lift here again, and look at his body position. He's perfect. He attacks the ball, and he's played fantastic for the Tigers this far.
You find a hockey goalie as he was, it's a ready transition to being a lacrosse keeper. Obviously, you play the position a lot differently.
The position's a lot different, but I think mentally it's the biggest advantage. First of all, you're not scared to get hit, right? Whenever you're looking for a goaltender, sounds obvious, but you can't be scared of the ball. And then second, you got to have that mental toughness. You're going to get scored on. It's a fast-paced game. Goals are going to be scored. How do you rebound? How do you respond? What kind of message do you send to your team after you let a few in? You know, and that's the mental side of it. And I think playing goalie in other sports really helps you in those two areas.
And he doesn't have to worry about getting hit by the ball. He's got sweatpants on. That'll absorb the blow.
Yeah, right. These goalies wear very little padding, just a chest protector, gloves, and a helmet. And, you know, these balls are flying 80, 90 miles an hour, so these guys are so tough.
Nothing to be concerned about.
Nothing to be, just another day at the park.
Yeah. And there is player getting toppled to the ground. That was Urevick, who's already scored the 2 goals.
I'm not sure what they had there. I think maybe Urevick was playing the ball while he was on the ground.
The ball is checked away from Chuck Winovich just as he was ready to start maneuvering.
Okay, White was offside, so the Tigers were offsides. Maramont's going to get the ball. And that's one there, if you're a long pole and you're running the ball over, you don't have anything. You need to just pass the ball to your attack and get off the field. And that's on the attack, too, because the attack needs to work back. They need to demand the ball. They need to communicate, say, give me the ball, I got it. Let's get our offensive personnel on, and let's try and generate a high-quality look.
Well, we said this was a defensive battle after the first quarter. Nothing's really happened to change that here, as it's still just a 2-1 game. Goals have been at a premium, very difficult to come by.
Yeah, and I thought this game would open up a little bit more here, but it hasn't. And both of these offenses have not been able to crack the respective defenses.
Well, Patrick Donnelly really leaning on Bortz, but he still got a step on him. Unloaded the shot, but wide. Maramont maintains possession. Chagrin Falls doing a lot better job containing Bortz than other teams have been able to do throughout the season.
Yeah, and they're comfortable not sliding to Bortz right there. They're trusting their individual defenders to win their matchups. We got another flag here, so free play.
And then Urevick lost it. Bortz did beat his man slightly and got a shot, but it wasn't one of those grade A shots.
I've been very impressed with the Chagrin defense and their active sticks. They've been very active. Patrick Donnelly, you see covering Bortz. They're not even sliding to him, so he's winning that matchup right now. One-on-one, terrific defense. But anytime these Maramont attackers have a step, the Chagrin defense is doing a fantastic job of keeping their sticks in the right place and being able to force turnovers or shots that are contested and don't have a lot of heat on them.
Illegal procedure, a 30-second technical. Maramont, if they could convert with the man up here, it would be a big momentum boost for them going into halftime. Urevick for Bortz. He's the man who orchestrates so much for the Maramont team. Here's Bucher.
Bucher needs to move the ball. He shouldn't be dodging.
Somehow he almost broke through those two players that were draped all over him, but then he lost it, and the ball's going the other direction.
Yeah, that's one right there where you have the extra man. You let the ball move. You let the ball work. All you need to do is find the open man. Everything breaks down to a 2-on-1 on lacrosse.
Yeah, your two guys should be trying to beat one instead of you as one trying to beat two of them.
Correct.
Simple math.
Yeah, the math was backwards there. And Chagrin has played a lot of this game man down. They've got a lot of penalties right now, and they've done a very nice job with their man down unit of not allowing goals. I think Maramont has one man up goal to this point, and we have to get the stats on how many man up opportunities they've had, but the defense for the Tigers has been fantastic.
Yeah, at least 5. And that's got to be an encouragement for Chagrin Falls to be as close as they are at this point when they had to play a man down so often. They've only had one man up opportunity, and they've got a chance to tie the score here late. Pass off wide, but Subol just could not negotiate contact with it, but he picks it up off the ground impressively. A great maneuver back of the cage. Another great move, another one. Still has it, finally shoots it, it was blocked. 3 defenders, those defenders are doing a yeoman job for Maramont, helping their goalkeeper out.
He almost squeaked through, but what Maramont does so well, if you're watching this game, they collapse and they protect the middle. Anytime one of the Tigers gets a step, they work to the middle, all of a sudden he's got 2, then 3 Maramont defenders on him, and that's so hard to beat a team that's coached this well and is able, in an unforced turnover right there. There's only 12 seconds left, so Chagrin's going to have an opportunity to try and tie it up.
Wow, Maramont, if they were to allow a late goal here, they would be kicking themselves all the way to the locker room for giving that one up with just 12 seconds to play. There was no defensive pressure, and they just missed the simple pass. With it, shot, goal, and there it is. With less than a second to go, Griffin Stevens, that could be a game changer.
Wow, what a swing. What a swing. Chagrin throws the ball away. Then Maramont throws the ball away.
The half was over. Maramont had the ball.
They're going to kill it. They were trying to call a timeout. They were going to draw up the last play. Instead, Chagrin gets the ball. Stevens calls his own number. And you watch this. You see fake. Throws a fake. One fake. And he splits the double team, steps around, gets to the middle, and goes 5-hole. The individual effort there to tie this game up before the half from Stevens, superb.
The worst that could have possibly happened to Maramont was they go into the locker room up 2-1. They had a chance. They could have made it 3. And we'll see how that affects the game going forward in the second half. Electrifying end of that opening half, 2-2, as it is Maramont battling Chagrin Falls in a rematch for the Division II state championship. New Albany High School, the site for what has been a real battle for the Division II state championship. The Maramont fans are optimistic of winning their 3rd consecutive state title. Chagrin Falls had a big goal and really gave them some momentum entering the second half as they try to reverse last year's disappointing result for them. And in the first half, Maramont really got off to a good start, forced some good saves on the Chagrin Falls side, and they controlled a lot of the half with their defense too.
Both defenses have been playing extremely well. We have Maramont playing zone on one end and Chagrin playing man-to-man on the other. But the goaltending by both of these keepers has been simply superb. Obviously, we're seeing it a 2-2 ball game, and they're a big reason why.
And here are the two goals. 1-0 for Chagrin Falls, and they got a quick counterattack. Sean Mackin scored, then Aaron Urevick scored the first of two. Very similar type plays on outside shots, and then this one with less than a second to go in the half. How will that affect things in the second half from maybe a mental point of view?
Yeah, that's a huge momentum swing for Chagrin to get that goal. They haven't been playing great offensively. They haven't been able to crack the zone yet of Maramont, and so that's a huge momentum builder for them. And I think offensively speaking, as we enter the second half here, can Chagrin figure out the Maramont zone defense? Can they generate some high quality looks? And if you're Maramont, you had so many man-up opportunities in the first half, but you weren't able to capitalize. You have one man-up goal, tons of opportunities. Are they able to crack the defense on the other side, the man-to-man defense of Chagrin?
Any adjustments you might anticipate that might have been made by either team in the locker room?
I would expect for Chagrin to maybe not recreate the wheel at this point. You know, you kind of are who you are, but I'm sure they have some zone offenses and some things that they were seeing, and making sure they were putting guys in the right spot to break the zone and to create some scoring opportunities, because that's really where they've struggled. They just haven't been able to get the defense moving, and they've been running in, and the Maramont defense has just been collapsing and forcing turnovers. So I'm sure that they address their zone offense, and we'll see what they can do in this opening possession.
Chagrin Falls with the opening possession of this second half, third quarter. If the game were still to be tied at the end of regulation, they would play a sudden death golden goal overtime, and how exciting would that be?
Oh, it's so exciting.
Neither team really wants it to go down to that. And gets away there from Brett Soy, but he recovered it, and Bailey Geers, defending against him, had to really hustle to get back into position.
Yeah, you saw the quick slide when Mackin's got the ball, so even though they're in a zone, they're sending two guys. When Mackin has the ball, trying to make the rest of the Chagrin team beat them.
This is really the trademark of the Maramont team, is very effective defense. They'll throw different looks at you, variations of defenses, especially their zone defense. It's been just as effective in this game as it's been in earlier games. There's an errant pass, but a great use of his body to ward off the attacker, and TJ Subel maintained it for Chagrin Falls. Looked like that ball was going to be turned over.
Yeah, Maramont, the Warriors, like you talked about, they have so many different defenses that they play, but they've only shown one. They've only shown one because Chagrin has not been able to beat it. Now you have a fast break opportunity and a flag and a free play.
And two players tumble at midfield.
There's a flag on the front.
Cooper Hayes.
The penalty looked to be behind
and
the
John
play.
Clendera. Yeah, the penalty went well before that collision took place. An illegal procedure call on Chagrin Falls. Take a look at the action here.
Penalty is on the Tigers for illegal procedure.
That was the play that occurred upfield.
So it looks like they picked the flag up. They're going to maintain possession, so it's going to be Maramont ball, and they're going to be 6-on-6.
So basically the possession changed hands, but neither team will play a man down.
Correct.
And that's good news for Chagrin Falls, because they did enough of that in the first half.
Yeah, they need to stay out of the box. And even though they were getting stops, one of the things, when you're playing a man down, you're expending more energy. And so as this game progresses, the more man down you have to play, the harder it becomes to stay fresh.
Bortz shoots the ball wide. There also, you might look at him. Is he going to emerge as a key force in this second half? Chagrin Falls did about as good a job as containing him as you can possibly do.
And Patrick Donnelly's been very active with his stick on his hands, and then his body positioning has been fantastic.
Here's Bortz now making a roll, dodging a shot. And that one went wide on the short side of the goal. And the ball will go over to Chagrin Falls.
Lindera with the backup. Again for Chagrin. That's just hustle. Just heart. Love it. Love it.
Pierce Frick moving the ball into attacking position, and then he'll go off as they change on the fly.
And you see Chagrin did not get a transition opportunity, and now they're tasked again with trying to beat this Maramont zone, which has been almost unbeatable thus far.
As you said, they haven't had to throw anything else at Chagrin Falls because they haven't solved what they've been doing, and maybe the minute they solve it, then they will. They're very, very adept at defensive tactics. Back of the goal, Griffin Stevens looking for some room. But he was warding his man as he was being well defended by William Mashak.
What Chagrin's doing is they're actually creating double teams, and that's what you want to do against the zone. But once they do that, they just need to move the ball to the next man. I think the ball is staying in their sticks just a little bit too long.
Frick broke into the open, and they had a 4-on-2 break unfolding. But then the whistle sounds and undermines that opportunity.
Yeah, one of the players' sticks broke. And I'm not sure what the penalty was, but his stick broke and he did something incorrect. The rest didn't like it, and they're giving the ball back to Maramont.
Well, I guess for Maramont, that almost cancels out what happened at the end of the first half, because they were in dire straits there with that outman attack coming at them. And they have it again, 4 minutes into the third quarter. These teams did not meet during the regular season. Last year's final was 10-9. Of course, things could still break and game could open up, but right now it's been much more defensive-oriented game than these two played last year.
Which offense is going to figure it out first?
That's what it may well come down to. Shot, and that was fired wide by Anthony DiMichele.
And that shot was set up by Bortz.
Crafty setup. He's equally adept at finding teammates as he is scoring, and very adept at both. He'll be headed to Kenyon to play. They've got to find collegiate lacrosse program. Play in that North Coast Conference.
Great academics as well.
Beautiful school. Back of the goal. Here is Bortz. And again, Donnelly is really going at him hammer and tong. Bortz is unable to find that opening, so he just holds on to the ball and restarts the attack.
Yeah, Bortz isn't the tallest guy, and so for Donnelly, in order for him to cover him, he has to really sit down, get low. And that's tough, I can tell you. Covering guys that are smaller than you, sometimes they're the hardest to cover because of their leverage points.
Urevick shot, and there's a save. We talked about the hockey goalies. That was a leg save and a beauty by Jackson Markey.
Yeah, if your goalie used whatever you have to make those saves.
Wish he had at least the box lacrosse pads on when he makes a save like that.
Yeah, those don't feel good. I can tell you that. I'm not a goalie, but I've been hit in the thighs, the shin. I've been hit everywhere. It hurts wherever it hits you.
It's much better to inflict that feeling than to absorb it. Chagrin Falls still trying to pick a lock, find the combination to open up this defense.
Yeah, the combination is when you draw two guys, you've done your job, move the ball. Do not hold it.
They utilized a motion offense very effectively in their game against Hawken. It looked somewhat static at times here. And the ball's on the ground, picked up. Maramont now with a chance, charging in. Charles School with a pass off, and that shot is ripped over the top by Will Cialino. Almost a great, it was a great opportunity to score in transition, and they almost did score.
How about the play from the defender? Causing the turnover, creating transition. Ground ball, makes the right read. And Maramont just wasn't able to put that shot on cage.
And along with Parker Sullivan, Charles Schooler is another one of their very top defenders, number 52.
Yeah,
For
Schooler,
Maramont.
that effort he had was amazing.
Under 5 minutes to go, third quarter. You're almost playing like it's overtime right now. And certainly it appears that the next goal is going to be very, very pivotal. Might even decide the whole game. Here's a chance for Mackin. At Osgood again. He never even looks like he's expending a lot of energy. He just comes up with those saves and makes a fine outlet pass to Schooler. We've seen him make more than one of those today. Shot, goal! Schooler just made that great defensive play. Now goes on the attack to put Maramont ahead.
Schooler, coast to coast. Spark transition the time before. They weren't able to score. This time he calls his own number. We talked about it. Zone defense, getting a big save from your goaltender, hitting the transition, and the placement, the shot placement was fantastic.
And chalk up the assist for the ex-long stick defender in goal, Connor Osgood, who hit him with that outlet pass, which we've said he's done on occasion in this game, and that's a very important facet of his worth to the team as a goalkeeper.
And that, we talked about momentum swings, having a long stick defender able to score.
They win the draw, come right back though, and Garrett Bontempo hit the post. That's the second time that we've seen that post get some paint chipped off of it.
Oh, how unlucky for the Tigers. That's what they wanted. They're playing fast, they're in transition. They have Bontempo on the backside,
yeah, they had very good tempo, as that name indicates.
Oh.
They won that faceoff cleanly, and it was just a clear break. They passed the ball around masterfully and hit the post.
And now Maramont's back in the zone.
A lot of times, you mentioned there's a lot of similarities in basketball. A lot of times you want to score on the fast break if you can, because otherwise the team can set up defensively.
Correct.
Hockey, of course, is closely akin to lacrosse, but in some ways basketball is even more analogous to the sport. There's a shot, and I think it hit the crossbar that time.
I think it was the same post.
They're really going to have to put an extra coat of paint on that thing after this game. And now it's Maramont with a chance as DiMichele comes out with the ball.
Good decision by DiMichele.
And a flag as TJ Subel was working him over, but they still keep the play going. Bortz from back of the goal. And finally the whistle sounds.
Looks like he stepped in the crease. From Subel, that might have been just a little bit of frustration.
That happened to Bortz in the last game too. He had a goal taken away because of a foot just barely in the crease. Here's that last shot.
Look at this. Oh, you're right, it was the crossbar.
You know, whatever it was, it caused the bell to ring all over, just reverberated all over this field.
Yeah, and Lingenfelter had Osgood beat. Great shot, drops his hands, gets Osgood to drop, and then goes high in just the unlucky break of hitting the crossbar. So that's two in the last 2 minutes for Chagrin.
And there's a misfired pass though, and from below the goal line like that, it can be dangerous. And the ball's taken by Frick, Pierce Frick, who's looked good here in this third quarter for Chagrin Falls. He steps over midfield and get the offense set up.
Once again, the Warriors not able to capitalize on a man advantage.
That's been something that has to be a little worrisome for them, even though they're leading in this game. You do not want to let so many opportunities slip by. If their man-up offense was working reasonably well, they could have maybe a 2 or 3 goal lead right now. And of course, credit to defense of Chagrin Falls.
Definitely, the Tigers are doing such a nice job on the man down sets that Maramont's not even getting quality looks. They didn't even generate a shot.
Both offenses are struggling monumentally to get quality looks in this game. And nearly intercepted as Charles Schooler tried to anticipate that pass. He would have had another break otherwise, but he didn't quite get to it. Less than 2 minutes to go, third quarter. In front, open, shot, and another block by the defender in front. Serraino, that's been at least 3 that he has taken for the team.
You see once again, the crease, and you're going to see it again right there if that pass connects. Anytime they throw the ball into the crease, the entire Maramont defense just collapses and suffocates. There's not even an inch in there. And if you're the guy in the crease and you're catching the ball, you cannot stand flat-footed. If you stand and wait for that ball to come to you, you're going to get chopped. You got to move upfield. You got to catch the ball, so you got to work away from the goal. When you catch it, then you curl back and generate that shot.
Timeout was called by Chagrin Falls, as after that last scramble, they were able to recover. Well, at halftime of this game, they announced the all-state teams. And several players on this field so honored. And let's take a look at them. So we see Bortz, Serraino, Sullivan, Hayes, Chris Cascala from Maramont, and Sean Mackin, Griffin Stevens, Patrick Donnelly, and TJ Subel from Chagrin Falls. So congratulations to them. And I guess some of them were already All-American, so All-State shouldn't be that difficult.
Yeah, it's what an honor for these boys, and you see the number of All-State first-teamers that they have on both of these squads, and I mean, it's obvious why they have the success they've had, because they've got terrific players and terrific coaching. And you know, I think that's one of the things that's impressed me so much, talking to both of these coaches and then the coaches from the Division I game later. These guys are just awesome guys. They care about their kids, and they're fantastic coaches. Talking to these guys, you know, they're very special coaches, and it's easy to see how they continue to lead their teams to the state championship games.
You know, talking to both of them beforehand, they're both very, very impressive coaches. They run very, very impressive programs, as is very well indicated by the fact that they're playing for the state championship for the second consecutive year. Minute 10 to go in the third quarter. Let's see what Chagrin Falls can come up with off that timeout. And the pass is missed by Bontempo. Nearly wheeling away with it, Cooper Hayes, but he couldn't quite scoop it up off the ground. And that gives Subel a chance. Subel in front, and that pass does not find its mark as it bounded in front of Winovich. Mackin came back to save the play with 45 seconds to go in the quarter.
Yeah, another deflection by the Warrior defense.
Bontempo faked the shot, fired, and Osgood again. Once again, just handling that ball without difficulty.
He's so calm between the pipes, isn't he?
That was exactly my impression of him as well. He's a fiery guy. He's a linebacker, and he's a very intense personality, but he just looks like he could be sitting in a rocking chair and making those saves. Timeout with 17.9 seconds to go in the third quarter, and Maramont calling timeout, and they have an opportunity here to score a big goal at an end of a quarter to give themselves a little bit of breathing room. Of course, they got to remember what happened at the end of the second quarter.
Just about to say, I think Coach Peterson is telling them.
That might be why he called the timeout.
Hold on to the ball.
If there's going to be a goal at the end of this quarter, let's make sure it's us that scores it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that he's telling them that right now. And you know, 18 seconds is so much time in this sport. You want to hold the ball, maybe start to go 12, 13 seconds. So you have time to, if you get the defense moving, to move the ball a couple passes and then generate a look. But the last thing you want to do is have a turnover and have the ball come right back down your throat. So make sure, worst case scenario, that the ball's in your stick and the quarter just ends and you don't give your opponents an opportunity.
Meanwhile, Chagrin Falls is bracing themselves for what's to come here. And they're in their first championship. Maramont's an interesting team. Over the years, they've had a lot of players that have gone on to play very high-level collegiate lacrosse, but these teams that have won the championships in recent years, not really that many. Last year, Sam Long, we mentioned, was the top goalie in Ohio at Center College. Connor Bortz heading to Kenyon next year, and that's it for guys. But I'll tell you what, there's a lot of guys who have the capability that could play collegiate lacrosse on this squad.
Yeah, and a lot of these guys play multiple sports.
Bortz trying to ward off that defensive effort there that he's been facing all game long, and a flag flies here with just 3 seconds remaining. Donnelly again all over Bortz. Got a holding call coming up on Chagrin Falls, and it is on Donnelly, who was doing everything he could muster to contain Bortz there.
You know what I'm going to say about it? It looked like pretty good defense to me. You know, I thought he did a nice job.
Just like with the slashes, right?
Just like the slashes, but to me, you know, it looked like he was in good position, did a nice job. But Maramont's going to hold on to the ball and start with it in the fourth quarter, man up.
Certainly wasn't anything too blatant, but it was enough to give Maramont a big opportunity when the fourth quarter begins, and we'll be right back with it. Maramont continuing to lead Chagrin Falls 3-2. There's the score line. Maramont has cashed in 1 goal each quarter. Chagrin Falls shut out in the third. That's the difference. When these teams met last year, it was 9-2 in the fourth quarter, and the final score was 10-9. So anything can still happen. But Maramont, they weathered that disappointment of giving up that late goal at the end of the first half, and they came back, played a strong third quarter.
And I'm surprised things haven't opened up here, but I've been wrong before, and I'll probably be wrong again.
Urevick shooting for his hat trick, but the ball was blocked in front, either by the keeper or a defender, but he got the ball back again. And then the memory of last year should somewhat restrain any celebration, even if Maramont is able to score again here. And there's a steal, though. Chagrin Falls flying back to the attack. Lingefelder accepted that pass for Bontempo. Mackin backing into the corner. They slow it down, get their right alignment on the field.
That was the Tiger defense once again. They were man down to start the quarter. They get the kill and get the ball to their offense, but once again they weren't able to capitalize in transition. Maramont's set now. We'll see if they can finally crack this zone.
This is the time that these Chagrin Falls players, the returnees, the many returnees from last year's game have been waiting for a year, and now it's time for them to perform if they're going to realize their dream of reversing last year's result, but Maramont proving very, very stubborn opposition. Good passing in front, but again, the defense collapses before a shot can be taken by Subel.
That's what right there, where Subel's inside. If he starts a little bit lower and curls up to come get the ball, I think he's going to have an opportunity.
Mackin for Griffin Stevens. He'll be heading to the University of Detroit to continue his lacrosse career. He was an All-American last year. Again, named the first team All-State team that we just saw. Here's Lingefelter being watched closely by Mayshak, an excellent defender, but he shook him off. Took a shot, but that was stopped by Osgood. Might have been going wide anyway, and a flag down.
How about Lingefelter just talking to the official, saying, hey, throw the flag. I just got slashed. The official listens, and it's man up. Chagrin.
But was it a slash?
Of course not.
He was chagrined about it, obviously, but take a look.
You see this right here. He's going to take a nice little whack, a couple of them, and just, hey, throw your flag. And the ref obliges.
That wasn't exactly a big chop, I wouldn't say. But at any rate, Osgood makes the save. And here he comes. We mentioned that he likes to move the ball out. And he's across midfield. It's checked away from him, though. Coach says that he's perfectly at home with Osgood doing that because he's done it many times before and he has very good judgment.
Wow, the officials just called offsides on Chagrin. I thought Maramont was offsides. I thought that's the way the call was going to go.
You know, the keeper, he crosses midfield, and often that might cause that to take place. And somebody have to step back below the line, but it went the other way. Oh, big hit there, and that will draw a flag as Griffin Stevens stepped in to Drew Serraino. But the play continues meanwhile. Bortz back of the goal. And Maramont with a free opportunity here. They're doubling Bortz now. He has yet to hit the score sheet, but there he feeds Urevick. And that possible hat trick shot went just wide, and now the call will be made.
That was a great save by Markley there.
Here's a look at the penalty.
Yeah,
great job dishing the ball up, but you see there, that was definitely a two-hander across the neck.
See how long they lock him in for. That might be, let's see, they might put 2 minutes and lock him in.
He'd be non-releasable possibly.
Oh, they only gave him a minute. He's lucky to only get a minute. His hands were apart, and he hit the Maramont defender right in the face.
And of course, officials, they're loath to make really drastic calls in this type of a situation in a championship game. And maybe that's the reason why he was just given the 1 minute. Nonetheless, a big opportunity for Maramont, an obvious call that had to be made.
Yeah, if you're Griffin Stevens, you just need to.
And there they get Urevick for the hat trick.
Just about to say, if you're Griffin Stevens there, it's a penalty you don't want to take. You don't want to give the Warriors a man-up opportunity. And Urevick, once again, hey, this is deja vu. Exact same shot that we saw him score on earlier.
All three of his goals have come on similar shots.
Same location, low and away, the overhand jump shot. That's a beautiful, beautiful play.
And it's 4-2, but still 8:31 to go. Now the ultimate test. Would you have called a penalty on that last play?
I actually would have called.
Okay, there goes your perfect record. After how many years?
That's the first one I've ever seen that I would have called. No, I've called a few over the years, but
yeah, that was obviously, that had to be called.
But like you said, you want to let the players play.
And there comes a point where you just have to do what you have to do. And he did there. And Maramont, all game long, they had not been capitalizing for the most part on their man-up situations, when it goes to show you cannot give a team of that caliber that many opportunities. And now they have the ball again here with a chance to get some more of a cushion between themselves and their challengers.
Yeah, and if you're Chagrin, I think any opportunity you have offensively where Maramont is not set, you need to go to score.
Urevick, who stands to be the hero of this game right now, with 3 of his team's 4 goals in a 4-2 game.
75% of your team's offense.
DiMichele trying to lower that percentage a little bit, and Urevick wouldn't mind. Bortz still having a hard time getting past Donnelly, although Donnelly was called for holding. It's trying to defend him earlier. Zapping him up like an octopus.
Yeah, that was a good no call by the officials. Bortz was leaning in right next to the Maramont bench, and they wanted.
There he beat his man though, and Markley had to stone him from in close. Bortz has it again, off the post again. 4 times. I think that was another crossbar. There's been 2 posts and 2 crossbars.
That looked like it might have actually gone in. It looked like it ricocheted off the crossbar. The way it looked from here is that it might have actually crossed the plane and then kicked out, but no goal, and we'll play on.
Here comes Subol, veering past 2 men. Still with it. Still with it. And never was able to quite get a shot. And the ball is turned over, as apparently he was caught warding again. And the ball is out of play.
And turnover from the Warriors.
Back it goes for Aiden Stevens. As Chagrin Falls starting to show a little urgency now as they go to the attack.
The good news for Chagrin is you turned it over, you get the ball right back on an unforced error from Warriors. The bad news is Maramont's back in their zone.
Exactly. They got the first goal of the game on a quick break. They've only scored 1 goal off the set offense in this entire match. Here is Stevens. Wheeling and dealing. Up high for Mark McGinley. Freshman playing in this big stage already. Shot Mackin, and a great save by Osgood as he moved to his left and covered the short side. Then that ball is flung all the way back over the midfield line. DiMichele threw a big check to get it loose, and Maramont comes away with it. Mike Lockhart. So DiMichele made that big defensive play, and Maramont calls timeout with 5:47 to go. They have a 2-goal lead and possession, and they almost made it a 3-goal lead on this last opportunity they had.
Let's take a look. You see the inside roll here. Oh, this is going to be the save from Larkey. The rebound, the shot. That misses, and here's the opportunity you're going to see from Bortz, and this is the one here. He rings it off the post. Does it bounce?
Wow, that hit down at the goal line as well, as you said.
Did that cross the goal line?
A couple of players thought it did. You saw there Chris Cascella had his arms aloft. At Maramont, this game is a long way from over. There's a lot of work to be done, but they are starting to just get a little taste of possibly their 3rd consecutive state championship.
And Maramont is now out of timeouts. So Coach Peterson taking his final timeout with just under 6 minutes left. Wanted to maintain that possession. His player was under a lot of pressure.
Let's take one more look at this last play and see where the ball hit the goal line after it hit the crossbar. Beats the keeper.
Ooh, I think that's a goal. What do you think, Frankie?
Boy, I think you practically need a microscope.
How about the camera work from the crew? That was a great angle and a great shot.
And we're going to have an illegal stick.
Oh no. That's a 3-minute penalty.
Wow. And that is really going to put a crimp in the comeback plans of Chagrin Falls.
You talked about, they're saying I think it's too narrow. They're explaining it to the coaches on the sideline right now. But, you know, that's, in my opinion, that's such a hard call to make. And I know the rules are the rules.
You certainly don't want to see a call like that in this situation.
And you got a state championship game. It's a 2-goal game, 6 minutes left. And now Chagrin has to play down a man for 3 minutes. It's unreleasable. It wasn't the pocket, it was just too deep. That's just an unfortunate break for the Tigers.
Now that is indeed the last kind of a call that you want to see made to play a major role in deciding a game like this, although the way that Maramont have been playing, they seem to have been gaining more and more of an advantage, but now they have a chance to possibly salt it away. On the other hand, just because you're playing a man down doesn't mean you can't go to the attack, and Chagrin Falls is certainly going to be thinking that way now.
Right, and what you're going to see, it looks like the Warriors are very content just to hold the ball. If I was Coach Peterson, I'd be tempted just to eat this thing down all 3 minutes.
Chagrin Falls is to the point where they got to maybe start taking some chances to get the ball back.
And it looks like they're going to be content doing that, just that.
Bortz being watched by James Grady. Of course, if you get overly aggressive on defense, especially when you're already a man down, you could be making yourself extremely vulnerable.
Right, if you overextend and you get run by, your one-man disadvantage effectively becomes a two-man disadvantage.
On the other hand, with the clock running down, at what point would you start saying, hey, defensively, we got to take some chances even though it's dangerous?
Right now, it looks like they're starting to do that, so we've got a stall warning on. They have to keep, the Warriors need to keep the ball in the box now.
Bortz is pushed off, but he kept the ball, passed it out in front. Nearly found Cascella. got away from him. However, they recover. Now a shot by DiMichele. That one goes wide, but right there to keep the ball in play. And in the possession of Maramont, Wilson Bucher, they pass it out. And now the ball is going to go over to Chagrin Falls. And they finally get their opportunity.
I believe there's another minute left in this penalty still. So you're going to need to, you don't want to wait and try and get to even strength. You got to go and try. It looks like there's going to be another penalty here. I'm not sure what just happened, but a free play for the Tigers.
And maybe poetic justice a little bit. And there is Griffin Stevens trying to get to the front of the goal, and another flag flies.
There was another flag, but I'm not sure why the officials blew the whistle. Griffin Stevens still had the ball in his stick, and you can see him talking to the official. Why did you blow the whistle there? I still had possession. We still had a free play.
4-1, offsides, 30 seconds. Go, 3-1, push, 30 seconds. 2 men, vote for 30.
So 2 30-second technicals, an illegal push and an offside.
So we have a 5-on-4. The Tigers have 5 men. The Warriors have 4. For 30 seconds, it'll be that way. And then I believe that Maramont is going to have a man advantage then, because the penalty still hasn't been released for the illegal stick.
What a turn of events after it looked like Maramont could almost freeze the ball for most of the remainder of the game. Connor Orzen down there in the box for Chagrin Falls. He is still very, very upset, but at least it takes a little bit of the burden off of his shoulders now.
And it appears that they're doing a stick check here on Griffin Stevens. I'm not sure if that was called for by the coaching staff of the Warriors of Maramont. But his stick is good to go, and it'll be a 5-on-4 situation.
Well, you'd think that they could check the sticks before the game, make sure everybody was good to go, and then they wouldn't have this kind, unless somebody tried to put a forged stick into the game.
No, I think that the coaching staff from Maramont asked for that stick check there, and it looks like the Tigers are returning the favor right here.
Well, you just hate to see a championship game determined in this manner.
I concur.
As you said before, the rules are the rules, but doesn't mean you don't hate to see it. And it doesn't mean that possibly measures could be taken to prevent this kind of a situation from occurring.
Especially the 3-minute penalties. So I think they were dinged for the stick being too narrow, but when you're playing a game, and it was on a defender, when you're playing a game and you're throwing check, your stick's bending. The head of the stick is bending. So a stick that might have been legal to start a game can very easily find its way into the illegal category. When you talk about, the face-off men, the guys who are facing off and taking draws, the way that they're bending their sticks, it changes. The way the stick starts is not the way the stick ends.
That's an interesting point. I would say that if you measure it before the game and it's good to go, then it's good for the game. And if it bends to that configuration, well, then that's just part of the game. That shot bounds over the top. Anything to avoid a situation where illegal stick calls decide close championship games.
Yeah, not what you want to see.
Right in front, open goal score. It's a 1-goal contest again. Griffin Stevens, with 3:05 to play, pulls the Tigers within 1.
And that play starts. The Maramont defense tries to run the ball out of bounds. They didn't get it, and the heady play by the Chagrin attack to pick the ball up and realize, hey, this defender is behind me. I'm going to pick it up and press. So you see the press right here, and then the backside look to Steven. You see the defender from Maramont coming into the backside of the picture there, and that's just good lacrosse IQ. And a 1-goal game with 3 minutes remaining.
Didn't slide down quite quickly enough. And even though we've reached this point by a very different route than last year, here we are, 1-goal lead for Maramont over Chagrin Falls in the waning minutes of a championship game. And Chagrin Falls takes over. Subel won 98% of the draws in last year's game, wins a big one there. Mackin up high, having to back out.
He thought about it.
Orzen is still in the box with his non-releasable penalty call.
And it's released. 6-on-6 lacrosse.
For the final 2:42. And this should be highly exciting. Hopefully no more stick measurements for the balance of the game.
I hope not.
Here is Stevens. Up high. Good defense. Schooler got right in Mark McGinley's face. But he maintained possession and they continue to work the ball. 2:16 an eternity in lacrosse. Still remaining shot. And that was either stopped or off the post on the far side. And finally Serraino runs it out.
That was a save.
Quick break, 4-on-3, they got the numbers. DiMichele, but he decided not to just fly to the attack, and they try to run off some valuable seconds.
Under 2 minutes, Maramont has to keep the ball in the box.
And you cannot forget that. Close games have been changed because of the failure to do that. Here is DiMichele for the hat-trick scorer, Urevick. Minute and a half to go. Maramont that far away from a third consecutive state title. Chagrin Falls desperate to win the ball back.
And Maramont's out of timeouts.
Bortz, he's a one-man ball control. As he's got it right here. Finds a man open in the back.
Surprised we haven't seen Markley come out of the cage and grab it. Man, he's staying in the cage. A lot of times you want to pull your goalie out. There he comes.
They really got to get on him now. They're doubling Bortz below the cage, tripling him. He gets knocked down by Donnelly, and the ball is turned over. And Chagrin Falls, due to that aggressive defense, finally separates Bortz from the ball, and they've got their chance to tie and force overtime. Looked like a trip there.
Wow.
No flag. Big hit by Subel as the ball was scooped up by Ty Bucher.
Subel needs to stop arguing with the ref and get back into play.
He sure does. A lot of time to argue afterwards. And Chagrin Falls is going to get it one more time.
22 seconds. And the timeout, the final timeout by the Tigers.
Wow, it has come down to plotting final strategy with 22.9 seconds to go. They showed in the first half that it doesn't take that long to get a goal, but they need to force overtime. Otherwise, Maramont for the third straight year will be the D2 state champs.
And what we saw there was a terrific effort from the Tiger defense to get the ball back. Subel's clearing the ball. Looks like it could have been called a trip. The official decides not to call a trip. The ball comes back down. Maramont's got to keep the ball in the box. They step out. And now Chagrin finds himself with the ball with 22 seconds left.
Well, this is it. What do you think is being discussed down there?
So obviously they need to clear the ball first. So they're either going to give the ball to Subel, I would think, or I would even think about bringing Mackin over, letting him start with the ball and carry down. But the crease has been open in this defense. So they need to work back to the ball in this zone. But you got to take the first shot, make sure you back it up. And any rebound, anything, any shot that takes place, Chagrin needs to crash the crease and try and pick up a loose ball and get a rebound.
Maramont has won the last two state titles, last year against Chagrin Falls, the year before against Rocky River. This year, they defeated St. Xavier, one of the teams in the Division I state championship game. They are a very formidable team, and they are 22.9 seconds away from a three-peat. But it's going to be an eventful 22.9 seconds, I would imagine.
Yes, and they ran the zone. They ran the zone against St. X. And you see Subel starting with the ball, so he's got to clear this first.
And he accomplishes that. Gets a step on Urevick. They need to set up for one big shot. almost lost but recovered by Griffin Stevens. There's the shot, they score! Subal ties it with 8.1 seconds to go.
8 seconds is a lot of time left. Subal actually broke his stick on the shot. I was wondering why he ran off without his stick. When he shoots, somehow the stick breaks. And we'll see if that becomes a factor here on this next faceoff. What a shot.
And you see the reaction.
See the broken stick.
The Maramont players who were that close to victory saw the stick break there. TJ Subal heading to play for Vermont next year has got another act to play for Chagrin Falls. They're taking that broken stick and the officials are conferring at midfield about it.
Yeah, this is actually good that they're talking about it, conferring about it, because it's giving Subal, you see him on his knee right there, a chance to rest. He's been a workhorse, an Iron Man, getting up, getting down, doing everything his team is asking for more. We'll see if he can win this face-off and push it forward, which he's been able to do. He's been dominant in face-off X today. If he can generate a shot, 8 seconds left.
When Maramont had that 2-goal lead and the 3-minute unreleasable was called for the illegal stick, it looked like they were almost there. Instead, we look like we're going to be going to overtime. That's it. Regulation has expired. And overtime will decide the 2015 Division II Lacrosse State Champion.
Give the Tigers tons of credit. You talked about the adversity that they had to overcome late in that fourth quarter. The 3-minute penalty on the stick. What we thought might have been a trip call that wasn't called, yet they found a way.
Wow, that is a huge factor too, that non-call. Let's take a quick break and we'll be back to decide the state championship.
Opens up,
This'll change everything.
unloads,
What are we supposed to do now?
and you'll see. The day's biggest sports moments, Ohio's top sports guests, all from Ohio's original name in sports talk.
Like a fine wine, I get better with age.
You drink beer.
More sports and less Levine.
More Sports and Less Levine is on the air.
Weeknights at 6 on Time Warner Cable Sports Channel.
We are back.
Wouldn't want it any other way, would you?
Let's take a look at the goal that was scored with just a shade over 8 seconds to play by TJ Subal to force this sudden death overtime. 4 minutes on the clock. They'll play in 4-minute increments. And as you said, it doesn't get any more dramatic than this.
And we'll see now. We talked about what Chagrin was able to overcome. Now, if you're Maramont, you were 8 seconds away from winning a state championship in regulation. What kind of mental toughness do you have to rebound and be able to play here 4 minutes in this first overtime period?
Especially for a young team. You think back to the goal that was scored with less than a second to go in the first half. The goal that was scored with 8 seconds to play. And the situation they were in. And we're going to have the ball going over quickly to Maramont off that scramble. And they get the first opportunity. That's very, very critical to get possession.
Huge face-off win.
This crowd is in an uproar. Urevick was that close to being hands down MVP. I'm sure if he gets another goal, he'll be MVP. And is that going to be ruled? That will still be Maramont's ball. That's very important.
Maramont's taking a timeout. Yeah, they got lucky right there. Chagrin defender made a fantastic play, got his stick in the passing lane, almost picked it off. But it bounces off his stick instead. And it actually looks like the timeout was called by Chagrin.
all of the state championships are determined. The Division I game upcoming. They also have a club division, which plays very, very good lacrosse. And Bellbrook won their second straight title, the Bellbrook Lacrosse Club over Louisville. 12-5 the final score there.
I'd love to see what the sport of lacrosse has been doing in Ohio. The rapid growth, the number of awesome college and pro players that are coming from Ohio.
And of course, the big news is that the Ohio State High School Athletic Association will be sanctioning lacrosse as an official sport.
And hats off to the commissioner, Paul Balzerzak. He's been working on that for years.
It had to come with the growth of the sport, as you said.
Yes, and the transition should be seamless. The Division I and Division II programs have been following the OHSLA rules, which were right in line with the OHSAA rules. So great job by the commissioner, well deserved for the sport, and excited to see where this thing goes in the next 5 to 10 years.
That'll be effective for the 2017 season, but sanctioned or not, this is a championship that's being played for right now, and it is a very, very major one. And here we go, Maramont trying to win it here right off the bat. Somewhat like professional football, where that team with the first possession has a huge advantage, although it's not decided by a coin flip, it's decided by a face-off, and Maramont earned it. Bortz, back of the goal, DiMichele being pushed by Clindera, doing anything to keep him from getting in front. DiMichele up high. Urevick. And certainly the officials are not going to call anything but the most flagrant of penalties at this stage.
It looks like they're going to let the hot hand initiate the offense, and Urevick
still controlling it. Bortz is always hot, even though he's been controlled today. Shot! And that was stopped.
Wow, Urevick with a huge, huge rebound there. That actually ricocheted off the goalie's helmet all the way to the top of the box, and Urevick maintains possession.
Yeah, I thought maybe it went off the post, but got Markley up high.
And Markley with another fantastic save. He's played so great today.
He just maybe saved the state championship for his team right there. 2 minutes to go in this first overtime session. Bortz again, he's been battling with Donnelly all game long.
I'm impressed with how calm Maramont looks on this possession. Nothing's forced, they're being patient, they're taking their time.
They just want to set up one really good shot. That ball intercepted by Clindera.
And Clindera almost had one to start the overtime period, and then look at him making another aggressive play.
And then he almost turned it over there. So he was being ridden hard, and they called a timeout just before he unloaded that ball.
Great call, the coach.
He sensed there was maybe some trouble, so that saved the possession for his team.
So Maramont must have had called the first timeout. I said Chagrin, I was wrong. Chagrin calls their timeout now.
So a near steal, and now this one he does make. Clindera, he didn't really get his stick on the ball, but he distracted DiMichele enough to allow himself to pick it up.
Yeah, and it's just good individual effort, using his stick. You saw how long he got, extending his hand out. And like you said, the first one he actually hit, looked like he was going to pick it off. That one, he just disturbed the vision enough of the Maramont attacker to force the turnover. And then how about the ground ball? That play is not what it was if he doesn't maintain possession.
So much of lacrosse comes down to ground balls. Face-offs and ground balls. Face-offs won't be as much of an issue now because the next goal, that's it. But the ground ball certainly will be. Minute 29 left in this first overtime session. And there's the man that kept his team in contention, Jackson Markley, going back to his goal. And all the legions of supporters in the stands for Chagrin rooting for him. And how'd you like to be in that position in the goalkeeper's box?
A lot of pressure on these goalies. But that's why they play the position. They love the pressure. They want their team to rely on them when the game counts the most.
Yep. That's what it's all about, and that's what both goalkeepers have at this moment. And now Chagrin Falls will see what they can do with possession in overtime. Stevens. Mackin up high. Both of the big guns, Mackin and Bortz, have been relatively contained in this game, and some of the other players have stepped up.
Yeah, it looks like they're trying to call Mackin's number and let him attack one of these short stick defenders at the top of the zone.
In the middle, Subal, and he whips it wide.
Wow, that's the best look that the Tigers have had all day against this zone. They didn't make it, they put it off Cage, and then Maramont gets the ball back with 40 seconds left.
Similar to that shot Subal took earlier when he sidearmed it in, just off the mark. And now it is Maramont coming back. Parker Sullivan lost it. And just like that, Chagrin Falls with an opportunity. 17 seconds left. Long pass. Miss. Intercepted by Serraino.
Great handle, great catch.
Out to Nick Weston. And to Chris Cascella. 6 seconds left.
They got to get a shot off.
Urevick trying to get in position for a shot. He dumps it in front. And they never get anything on goal. And the first 4-minute overtime is concluded with no goals. So we will continue on to a second. And the pressure continues to mount all the time.
The Warriors were out of timeouts, so they had to try and play that last 9 seconds with with a little bit more awareness of understanding that they just put any shot on Cage. At that point, try and generate, that game-winning goal. But they weren't able to even get a shot off, and like you said, overtime period number 2, await.
So what do you think the mentality of the two teams should be here in the overtime? Sometimes you see it in basketball where teams almost go into freeze mode and they just try to control the ball till they take one shot at the end and hope to win it. And it almost looked like that we were getting a little of that in the first overtime session. Should the teams maybe try to open it up a little bit?
Well, you want to work for a great look. You don't want to look for a good look. And we saw both teams had some decent shots. Bortz had one, and then on the other end, Subal had the best look I think that the Tigers had all day. Just wasn't able to capitalize. So be patient, work for that great shot, but whenever that shot comes, you got to take it.
Don't be tentative.
Don't be tentative.
4 minutes on the clock again.
And especially in this style of game that we've seen today, great shots are hard to come by. So if you get one, you cannot hesitate.
And you can't be so careful about maintaining possession that you never do get a chance. Ball awarded to Chagrin Falls.
Wow, not sure what happened there.
Subal moving in, and he again could not get that ball on Cage.
You saw in the face-off with Subal, it looked like Subal went early from here, and Subal was giving the ball to Maramont, but the official says no. The Maramont player went early, Tigers ball. And then
Subal was happy to accept.
He was happy to accept, and then he almost ended the game right there.
Yeah, I think everybody was maybe just uncertain for a moment. He just walked right up the pipe, but shot off the goal. Chagrin Falls looking for the goal right here that could redeem the whole year of dwelling on last year's result.
And this is here where you played a zone. If you're starting to get a little tired, you can't make any mental errors. You need to continue to collapse and protect the crease like you've done all game.
Mackin shot, that one burned wide. But Chagrin Falls in position to maintain possession of the ball. The player well positioned below the goal, so that shot goes off the target. They'll be able to keep it.
Alex Baker's been wide open for the Tigers on the inside. They've got Subal back in there now.
He scored some big goals for them, but there is the biggest goal. TJ Subal fires it in with 2:50 remaining in the second overtime. And a storybook comeback that they didn't finish last year, they do this year. They weren't as far behind, but things looked awfully bleak for them at one point, and now they have won it.
The heroics from TJ Subel, the equalizer at the end of the fourth, and then the game winner in double overtime.
Here's a look from a couple of angles.
You see him wheel out of the crease, just finds a soft spot, and we talked about it. He does not hesitate and finds the back of the net, and then let the celebration begin.
Another look at it from below the goal. Subel finds the range, and the Chagrin Falls Tigers win it 5-4. They were down 4-2 in the waning minutes of the fourth quarter. They received a 3-minute unreleasable penalty for an illegal stick, and they really looked to be in big trouble.
Wow.
But somehow they dug themselves out, tied it up with 8.1 seconds remaining, and have won it in double overtime.
And I got to say, that's a reflection of coaching. You know, the players are feeding off the coach and their ability to persevere and continue to grind out a difficult win against a great team. And TJ Subel with the game winner. Fantastic job by the Tigers. What a game, what perseverance.
Full worthy of a state championship contest. That'll do it. 5-4. We'll be back in just a moment. The Chagrin Falls Tigers defeating Maramont Warriors 5-4. Five to 4, the Chagrin Falls Tigers in double overtime defeat the two-time defending champion Maramont Warriors, who were very valiant today and coming so close to their third straight title. Maramont has received their medals, and now the champions from Chagrin Falls are receiving theirs. And let's take a look at the highlights of a very, very intriguing and gripping contest here. It's a game where you look back, you see some of the early goals, but so many things. Here's the one that was scored by Urevick, 1 of 3, but here's the one that might have been a goal but was called not. There's so many things that, had it been a little different, it would have changed the result.
Yeah, it's a game of inches and opportunities and missed opportunities, and at the end of the day, it was the Tigers standing tall. They were able to capitalize in some clutch moments, and you saw the game winner there from Subel. And sometimes it's just the way it goes.
And then you see the contrast in emotions there, could not be more pronounced. As the Chagrin Falls Tigers, for a whole year they were waiting for this game, and they were so very close to the frustration of having waited for it, had the day arrived, and seen a similar result. But they certainly showed a lot of fortitude in coming back from great adversity in that fourth quarter to win the game.
The mental toughness that they showed throughout the game and being able to capitalize on some key situations. The end of the second quarter, they scored under a second left, and then in the fourth quarter, the ability to overcome the stick penalty, you know, a couple of what looked to be some no calls that didn't go their way, but able to bury the ball in the back of the net when it counted most, and then come out in double overtime, once again, TJ Subel, and get the game winner.
No question about it. They really rose to the occasion. On the Maramont side, so many things they could look back on. The goal that was scored with less than a second to go in the first half, when they had possession with 12 seconds left, an unforced error. Then the goal with 8 seconds left. They had control of the game seemingly with the illegal stick call, non-releasable for 3 minutes. It looked like everything was pointing in their direction. The goal that looked like it might have gone in after hitting the crossbar and so forth, and I guess those are all things that you're going to rehash in your mind over and over again. It's certainly tough to lose like that.
Yeah, it's tough to lose anyway, especially in the state championship, and you know, when you do fall on that side, you always are replaying and thinking about the things you could have done different, but it's sports and it's the way it goes, and so for these Warriors, they have, you know, they should hold their head high because they hustled and they scrapped for an entire game plus 2 overtimes.
And they're still a very, very young team as we see the awards being given now. There's the man who will remember for the rest of his life the goal in overtime.
Division II Player of the Year and the Division II Player of the Year.
Yeah, well deserved there.
D2 Player of the Year.
Number 2.
They're just announcing that. Noah Best from Toledo. He'll be going to play at Ohio State next year.
He's a fantastic lacrosse player.
And there is Subel, who scored that winning goal. Here's Noah Best. And Coach Peterson of Maramont said he thought Best deserved that Player of the Year award, and a lot of people concurred. And Connor Bortz also being honored as the Attackman of the Year. And Parker Sullivan. You see the emotion etched on the faces and the disappointment of the Maramont players. Sullivan, they have the Offensive and Defensive Player of the Year. Cooper Hayes, the long stick Player of the Year, also from Maramont. You can see why they had such a strong team, and they got all these position players of the year.
And on the other side, the goalkeeper of the year.
And the goalkeeper of the game.
For sure.
He made numerous saves to keep his team from falling out of contention late in this game. Made a big save in overtime. Did Jackson Markley, number 10. And then his teammates rose to the occasion and did the rest.
We'd now like to introduce and reward the Division II Coach of the Year for this season is from Hawkins School, Mr. Jim Scully.
And Jim Scully of Hawken being named the Coach of the Year. We alluded to it earlier. Such a terrible tragedy that team underwent when two of their senior players were tragically killed in a car accident less than a month ago, and they had to play in the postseason with all that hanging over their heads, and they gathered together and showed true remarkable class in dealing with all that and still coming out and playing top quality lacrosse, and certainly a well-earned Coach of the Year tribute there.
And thoughts and prayers to the Hawken community. Absolutely tragic what they went through and are going through.
Indeed. And now Pat O'Brien, the newly named assistant commissioner, chatted with him before the game, giving out the runner-up trophy to Maramont. This is a young team. The veterans on this team have experienced the high of winning a state championship, and the youngsters will get another shot, I'm sure, before they're through.
They will not be surprised if we see them again next year in the state championship game.
Meanwhile, Chagrin Falls had never been here before last year. They learned some hard-earned lessons and put them to use today. And you see the jubilation at being awarded that state championship trophy to senior defender John Clendera, who made that great defensive play to turn the ball over in overtime. A key play that'll maybe be forgotten by the average observer of this game, but will not be forgotten by the Chagrin Falls team. And they are indeed the 2015 Ohio High School Lacrosse Association Division II state champions. No, they did win a championship in 2003, but it was Division III, their first Division I title. Final thoughts on just a tremendous effort on their part.
Tremendous effort, a tremendous game by both of these teams. But in the end, it's the Tigers from Chagrin Falls overcoming the adversity and showing the mental toughness to win the state championship. Well-deserved, boys. Great effort, great game.
Two true champions out here, but only one can win, and today it was Chagrin Falls. So that will do it. Today's final score, the Chagrin Falls Tigers 5, the Maramont Warriors 4 in double overtime. Remember, for programming updates and information, remember to follow us on Twitter at TWC Sports-OH. Find us on Facebook by searching Time Warner Cable Sports Channel Ohio. For Greg Bice and the entire Time Warner Cable Sports Channel crew, I'm Greg Franke. Again reminding you the final score in double overtime, Chagrin Falls Tigers in dramatic fashion, 5-4 winners over the Maramont Warriors. So long from New Albany.